We're going to go ahead and cover a few things here today, just talking about the different features and changes and stuff like that we have for NASCAR Heat 5. First thing we're going to kick off with is the menu. The menu has been changed, has been moved around, just organized a little bit. Things have been condensed. It should be a little bit easier to navigate. I know in the previous game there was a lot of buttons on that first menu, so that they made things a little bit different, a little bit difficult out. But yeah, it's a lot cleaner now, easier to navigate. Hopefully, we've also changed the background in NASCAR Heat 4. Of course, there was that looping video, but now we get to see the different cup cars, different cup schemes rotate through in the background. Let's see. So we'll go over to career next. So we've got all of the 2020 Cup content except for one driver, and that driver has been replaced with with Bobby Carter, who I will show you in just a second here. But we can go over some. Oops. We could go over some the stat breakdowns that we have. So there's stats now in the career mode, much more in-depth stats available. So certainly we are expecting people will probably make good use of this. You could track all of your stats across all of the different series. Of course, just like with the previous games, you could run the different series, and you could do those simultaneously, and you could track your statistics for all of those. You can also track statistics for other drivers as well, too. Let's switch over to Cup Series, actually. And you can see, for example, how Danny Hamlin is doing at the moment and versus previous seasons as well. So we've got all of those different stats in there, and you can go through and you can look at absolutely every single driver. Are you back, Elliott?
I am back. Sorry, I seem to have already started with some technical difficulties, as we will happen to do.
Right as I started the stream, too. I mean, there was no going back at that point. So I did go ahead and start. We already covered over the main menu stuff, and I mentioned already that we have all of the 2020 Cup content except for one driver, who of course has been replaced by you. I in fact actually introduced you as Bobby Carter, but this is in fact Elliott Henderson, developer on NASCAR Heat 5. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the career stuff that I'm going over?
Yeah, so career mode, obviously a lot of people have been asking for stats and a little bit more depth there. So as Justin showed off a second ago, you can go through and see AI stats and your own stats per year, per season, and per series, and just kind of get a glimpse of what has happened over each driver's career while they've been in NASCAR Heat for the last few seasons. So anybody trying to play through career mode and provide some type of storyline to it can go in here and pull generated stats from previous races and stuff, and actually have a little bit more to look at and go from when they try to do that type of stuff. But we can also touch on a little bit of Bobby Carter as well if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So yeah, basically, I've prided myself for a while of trying to make sure that we had full rosters in the game. It's been a big thing since Evolution. Anybody that's played the EA games has, realized that that's been a large focus for us, to try to make sure that we have full rosters in the game. Unfortunately, with how this year has gone, we missed out on some key drivers. We happened to grab Joey Gase from Brickware Racing to fill in as the 39th driver, but we couldn't gather assets quick enough to get it into the game prior to ship. So we are still talking with Brickware Racing and BJ McLeod and other Cup guys that have come up since the season's gone through its changes, and we hope to add in more drivers, maybe replace Bobby Carter with an existing driver. To fill that field out. But we do have some other drivers down in the Xfinity and Truck Series that Justin can show off that we can talk about quite briefly with Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott.
Ah, yes.
I believe we should have Kyle's Xfinity car in here. You can hit next group, bud. There you go. So there's his number 54 Twix car. So I know trying to get these Cup guys in the lower tier series is always a positive for fans because they want to drive as Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott and other guys. I know a lot of people are asking about Dale Jr. It's not an avenue that we've looked into quite yet, but we are trying to get more drivers into these lower series. So you'll see Kyle Busch in the Xfinity series, and we've got Kyle and Chase both in the Truck series here as well. So there's that beautiful Hooters scheme that he drove um, at Atlanta. So we're definitely trying to get more drivers in and get deeper rosters in here. Unfortunately, the Cup Series this year with the limited drivers running, we have failed you on that 39 out of 40, but we are adding BJ McLeod and trying to talk to Rick Ware about getting their other drivers.
And as with previous games, of course, we are expecting to add more and more schemes as we go. Of course, we've got the 2020 schemes, but there's been those one-off schemes and stuff like that that we're expecting to add later on.
Yes, certainly.
And just touching back, just to wrap up on career, we did have some slight improvements on career this year as well too, coming in the form of AI. Let's say they're a little bit more equal, some stability when it comes to the AI difficulty in career mode and other, well, not outside of career mode as well too, and also the DNF feature as well now.
Yeah, so with career mode, we've talked about in other streams and videos that as you play through, there's a little bit of an inconsistency between tracks going to. I like to point out Atlanta and Richmond specifically, but when you do hot seats, when you go to a track like Atlanta in the Truck Series with a Tier 3 team or a 3-star team, it feels too easy compared to what it would, you know, ideally at another track. So we've enhanced that and changed it so that more the tracks are a lot more consistent overall. So when you do go to Atlanta with a 3-star team, it doesn't feel too much different than something like Chicagoland or Kansas, where you won't be getting you won't hopefully be easily winning a short race at Atlanta with a 3-star team as you could previously. And then Richmond was also really, really hard prior, and we've changed that so that it's a little more consistent with the other tracks as well, because that was another major issue with the track consistency.
And then just moving on to the other race modes. So if, again, we have this condensed menu now. If you go over to race modes, this is where you'll access the test session, the championship modes, the challenges, split screen, all of that kind of stuff. Again, this is stuff that would have been right on the main screen on NASCAR Heat 4. But of course, the new thing here is the test session. So we're going to go ahead and pull up that. I guess I should show off the test session schemes, if you can call them a scheme. But yeah, if you wanna talk about that quickly.
Yeah, so I believe we had test cars first come in Heat 3 or Heat 4. So this isn't anything super new. But when you go into a test mode, you wanna have a plain scheme, a test scheme. So we've got all the test schemes in here. They're just basically plain cars with the number to signify that you're testing. So just a neat little thing to add in. They're not currently available in other modes, but they'll be in the test area for now.
And the test session itself, who would you say that is for? Who has been requesting this feature?
I'm definitely gonna say it's probably the online guys. I don't know that your career or offline players really, are gonna get a substantial amount of use out of it unless they're trying to fine tune things. The test mode is a lot of just fine tuning your setup and making sure that it's dialed in. The issue with online is obviously you go into an online session and you've got people potentially crashing you or something like that. So you wanna go in here and just make sure that your setup runs the way that you want it. You want to make sure that you get your right tire pressures, you're not wearing the tires too fast, you've got the right fuel consumption and everything. So you can come in here and the AI won't bother you. There is no AI, and you can fine tune that setup that you need to hopefully go on and dominate people online and really start to make yourself a predominant driver in the online world.
Yeah, so that'll help a number of people, of course. But yeah, certainly those that are most competitive are going to be most interested in that sort of session. And yeah, I'm sure our esports drivers in particular will be making good use of that in NASCAR Heat 5. Let's go ahead and move on while I'm at a loading screen. I apologize, this isn't installed on an SSD. Let's move on to the custom championship. So this is something that has kind of already been talked about a little bit, but let's go ahead and just expand on that a little bit. So in the custom championship, you can do any of the series, right?
Yeah, so championship mode is similar. I believe last year we added in the fantasy type schedules, but this year we have a full kind of customizable schedule, if you will. And you can, if you select up, you can go in and all the way at the bottom, or actually just press X, you can start your new custom season. Give it a little name there. And from that point on, you can literally make whatever schedule you may want, whichever order that you want. And I think that just kind of, gives more replayability, lets you play the game in a different way. As mentioned before, you can obviously add in playoffs or run a whole season without playoffs. You can run one race schedules. You can run 36. You can do whatever you really want and just kind of make your own schedule different from the current calendar. And this all stays in the custom championship mode, so there's no interaction with career. It doesn't affect anything. It's just you and the AI in this mode. So I think it'll give users a fun way to kind of replay the game and show it off in some different streams and stuff, and make their own championship based on how they want. And I think the playoffs here is kind of a big deal. A lot of guys complain that there are playoffs, so you can now play it without playoffs and just run through a whole 36 race season, or you can determine what kind of playoffs you want, whether it goes into the final four, or you've got your round of 8, round of 12, or round of 16. And the game determines all that based on how the previous races go, based on winners, and how the regular playoffs are currently set in real life.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to see what people do with that one. I would love to see a string of 7 Richmond races at the end of a season if somebody actually can do that.
I don't know of too many guys that would want that, but
yeah. I'm excited to see what people do with the custom championships, no doubt about it. And then moving on, we've got the online challenges right now, which, if memory serves, it actually still has the very aptly named testy test. Yes, it does. It still says testy test. So yeah, it's still very much we're working on this. This isn't what it'll look like, of course, when you all get your hands on the game. But yeah, Elliot, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the online challenges, what it is, and what we hope to do with it in the future.
Yeah, just from reading the stream chat here, if you're looking for paint booth stuff, hold on one more second.
That's coming.
We just got to run through this.
We're gonna get to
it. The online challenges are based on your assist level, and we're kind of hoping that this will open up, how people play the game, and transition them a little bit more and get them out of their comfort zone. Currently, you can go in and play on normal, hard, or expert, and just play through the challenge. The challenge is similar to the offline scenario, where it's you against AI opponents in this set scenario, whether it's real life scenario or a fictional type of deal. And it's the fastest completion time that'll set you higher up the ranking. But the idea with the assist level is so that if you do play the game on normal, you're not just going to get beat by the guys on expert that are, the cars are built faster and quicker than someone with a bunch of assists on that are slowing you down. So you can play at your own speed and not have to deal with other people potentially infringing on your way of getting to the top of the leaderboard. So there's a lot of different ways that we'll be able to use this tool, but it's just another way to kind of play through the online experience without just jumping in and doing races. You can now play through challenges and utilize that as a bit of a bragging rights area and try to reach the top of the leaderboard.
And certainly, this is something that we were looking at, as far as community involvement, looking at ways that we can utilize this to reward people who, have done an exceptional job at a certain challenge. And we haven't decided yet, if correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the frequency of the online challenges, that's still yet to be determined. All that kind of stuff we're still working out.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing with this is we can put them in at any point. Obviously, creating a challenge isn't as easy as someone sitting down for 20 minutes and just making something. But, the frequency of us inputting these could be weekly, monthly, best case scenario, daily. I don't see that happening. But, it depends on what we want to do and what we're able to do in those cases.
All right. Well, next on the list, because I am going down a list, it just so happens to be, it is in fact the paint booth. So, people who were asking for that. So there are some small improvements, some updates, just things in general. Elliot, go ahead and talk us through that as well.
Yeah, the quality of life here was kind of the biggest thing. The paint schemes are the same as what they were last year. We're going to implement more of those as we go forward through DLC packs. But the biggest thing is you get down towards the number, you can see the difference here. Um, that's obviously separated from the font. What we've done is we've included more fonts and allowed for more customization of the number. So instead of scrolling through a 400-page list of numbers, you can just scroll through, pick your digit, and then pick your font. Again, we'll definitely plan on updating more fonts and adding more fonts as we can with each DLC patch. And then from here, you can change the fill, but also the shadow of the number. So, a lot of the complaint last year was just the minimal aspect of being able to edit the number. And now you can go in and actually change the shadow and make it pop a little bit more. The material for the car can be changed from gloss to matte. That's something that internally we've wanted to do for a little bit and never really had the resources to do it. So that was something that we looked into this year to nail down. As I mean, between the Chip Ganassi cars typically running like a matte finish, it's just a nice piece to add in so you can differentiate yourself a little bit more. We've added deeper rim and spoiler colors. Actually, I don't believe the spoiler was able to be edited last year, but the rim color used to be just a set of, I believe, 8 or 10 different colors. Now you can use the regular color picker and choose whatever you want so that you can match your car now. So that's a little bit deeper modification there. And then the spoiler color is just the same way, which is similar to how Penske and other teams utilize the spoiler color of their car. Now you can change that on your car as well.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of the matte in particular. Every car I've made so far has been matte without without fail.
Yeah, the matte just seems to flow a little bit better, especially when you got that matte black scheme down.
I'm gonna save this. All right, and then now we have some carryover content that was actually Gold Edition last time for NASCAR Heat 4, but will be available to everybody in NASCAR Heat 5. Let's start with the paint scheme, which is going to be from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, so Jeff Gordon, we definitely wanted to keep him in this year. He was obviously a big hit with the Gold Edition last year, but anything to kind of add on to that Hall of Famer legendary type deal that we've got going on with Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. So we made it a big effort to keep him in his paint scheme as well as incorporate his spotter pack into the game. So you'll still be able to play with Jeff Gordon. He'll be on the base version of the game. So if you don't get Gold Edition, you'll still have Jeff Gordon. If you don't pre-order, you'll still have Jeff Gordon. We just wanted to make sure that we could keep him in the game as well as adding Tony Stewart.
Now, some people may have noticed. Yeah, I am seeing in chat actually. Yeah, I see Mike Bross actually saying, "Whoa, it's me." I didn't realize when I selected Jeff Gordon that kind of revealed the next thing that we were going to talk about, which is actually the eSports drivers being in the game. Now, you guys aren't gonna be seeing them in career mode, but they are all selectable, or the ones that we have are selectable at the moment. We're still working on all of that kind of stuff, but yeah, you won't see these guys in career mode, but they're selectable online and in quick race. Is that right? Am I getting that right, Elliott?
Yep, they're for use in single player and for online. So basically, if you wanna play as your pro league guy, you can do that. I think we still have some old ones in there, so we're showing off a little bit more than we can show. But it'll be all the season 2 guys minus Penske currently. Penske has decided to not be displayed, so we're still working on this. This isn't finished by any means, but we do plan on having the pro league guys in as far as season 2 goes.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and it's just a lot of it's just extra schemes to choose from as well. So for all you guys that have a particular team that you're a big fan of, it's just more stuff to choose from. So yeah, looking forward to people enjoying that as well. And then let's see, we got a couple more just small things here. We're about to wrap up here, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. But we got a couple more things here. We did want to mention, I wanted to mention specifically, because I know this is something that we've gotten from the community quite a bit, which is the ability to disable rivals. Which is, I know we've gotten some complaints about that. So talk about disabling rivals.
Yeah, so well, you can see two things here. There's hide cockpit wheel and disable rivals. So I'll cover both pretty quick. The cockpit wheel is similar to how you would play a sim, because the wheel is set on an animation rotation of when you turn your wheel, and it doesn't always line up appropriately, or someone that is playing on a wheel doesn't want to see that. We've just added that ability. That's for console and for PC players. If you're playing on a wheel, you just can turn that off and just see kind of the dash and what's going on there. And then the disable rivals is, yeah, I don't, I've never personally had an issue with it. Maybe I just try to race clean, but a lot of people seem to complain that the rivals really don't like you after they become a rival. Maybe you guys should just apologize more in the text. I don't know, but so we've added the functionality of being able to disable them, and all that does is basically allow you to play without rivals. So you don't have to deal with them constantly trying to hit you off the track and then run into you. So that is a functionality that I think a lot of people really wanted out of the career mode, and it's now in there.
And the last thing that we're going to talk about, actually, this is going to be something that I imagine some people are going to be very, very excited about, and other people probably won't care about too much. So I think it's only fitting that it's right at the end. It's also something we can't show off at the moment because it requires a little bit more planning and stuff like that, and a lot more people as well. But essentially, we've got some improvements to spectating races. So all of you league racers and league admins and broadcasters out there, this is something in particular that you will be interested in. But go ahead and talk about the improvements to spectating, Elliot.
So yeah, we added a lap counter and I'm gonna say ticker. It doesn't show intervals, but your spectator cam will at least show you what lap they are on and who is leading, second, third, fourth, and so forth. So basically, you can actually see what's going on. It won't tell you if they're 1 or 2 seconds ahead or behind, but you can at least see the order instead of just driver numbers and driver names. So the people who are both spectating versus broadcasting have a little bit more information to go off of there, and can hopefully enjoy their online experience just a little further.
And of course, we do know that you guys want the deltas, the intervals in there as well too. We listened to the community. We were able to add those in. We're certainly looking into adding more features and all that kind of stuff in the future. So we will of course keep you updated when it comes to all of that kind of news and what we're working on and all that stuff. But that is going to do it for today's live stream. We are going to be doing some more of these live streams in the future, so do make sure to follow us here on Twitch. But we'll also be posting these streams on YouTube and on our Facebook page as well. So just search facebook.com/NASCAR Heat for the Facebook page and youtube.com/NASCAR Heat for the YouTube page. And we'll be putting these up there as well. So if you ever miss it live, you're not available to tune in live, you can always check it on Facebook or YouTube. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, we'll be back very soon with another one of these later this week. And thank you, Elliot, for joining me as well.
Yeah, no problem. That was fun.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.